Good morning, everybody. It's exactly as Dale said. I'm Chris Holder, Senior Sales Executive of Mailing with the United States Postal Service. My professional responsibility is to play a more active role in the way that our customers communicate with their stakeholders and prospect to any future customers, the way they market and engage those prospects. We're responsible for really understanding the needs of every organization we work with, and I'm really happy to have an opportunity to get a better understanding of the complexity of the university's communications needs as they relate to both stakeholder communications and marketing. Today, we're going to talk about a few different things. I want to mention first the Exigent rate case that Dale mentioned. On April 10th of this year, we finally peeled back a 2-year emergency increase to the rate of most classes of postage on the market dominant side. So it would be first class mail, standard mail, periodicals. And the Postal Service did this really as sort of a dramatic last resort to address some of our financial issues that came as a result of other federal obligations that really had nothing to do with the way we operate our business. It was a large increase, and it had a dramatic impact on the cost of marketing and direct mail. April 10th, we peeled it back. The Postal Service essentially recouped all the money we expected to gain, and Congress said, all right, you guys are good, we're square, don't need it anymore, and we've peeled it back. What's better about the Exigent peel back is that not only did we lower the rates by about 4.2% for all classes of market dominant mail, but there also was no increase announced for this year. And that was something that our senior leadership really had committed to back in November, that we're going to peel back the Exigent case, and we're not going to raise postage in April or May like we usually do. There's even more value there. An average decrease of, again, 4.2% for all these classes of mail for special services. The full service intelligent mail barcode still gives a small discount. And the only rates we increased were shipping prices, which happened in January as an industry standard. We're living in the information age, and it's arguably the best time in human history in terms of commerce, in terms of education, and everyone throws around the word data, and it's a word that's becoming so incredibly ubiquitous. Originally, this slide, actually, it just said the word data in big letters, and I sat in front of my screen, I stared at it for probably maybe 5-6 minutes, and I was going, what does this even mean? Like, what does this mean anymore? I started to lose the sense and understanding of it. Data is plural for datum. Datum is a Latin word, and datum literally means something given. And by that, they mean something given as an inference point. Any action that could occur that people can use to make an inference of some kind. So as consumers and as buyers in this globalized world, every action a person takes is in some way an inference point, and it becomes data. And we're living in a time where that data is now so accessible and it's so effective to use that this is where you're seeing all these enhancements. I'm going to keep sort of coming back to this motif that data is what's really driving direct marketing services these days. It's the ability of direct marketing to use the available data, this gigantic wealth of data, to deliver content like you guys have seen here, and some of the content that I'm going to show you, how you can deliver this content to the people it is most relevant to all the time. That is really the best value that the Postal Service can offer. A brief history of the promotions calendar. Back in 2009 and 2010, we did something called the summer sale. Some of you guys might remember this. It was just a small rebate on standard mail use. It sort of evolved, and in 2011, it became the promotions calendar, and it was a little bit more formal of an approach to engaging people to use mail, use different mailing techniques, and provide some incentive for it. Back then it was still rebates. One of the biggest, most popular promotions was with quick response codes, the little black and white 2D barcodes. We were offering a rebate for anybody who used those to engage their customers for a commercial transaction. Over the last 2 years, it started to evolve even more. There were new promotions related to things like augmented reality, near-field communication chips, and we took the rebate program away and made it an upfront discount. There's no sense in having it as a rebate. We wanted it to be accessible as possible because it all reinforces the idea that the Postal Service believes that value adds like this are incredibly important, and we want to make it available to people. At the end of last year, we launched what was called Irresistible Mail. Some of you may have seen the Irresistible Mail catalogs. I've actually got some sitting right over here. Please come help yourselves to these. Take a look. I'll be hanging around later on to talk about these. I want everybody to just take a peek. There's even more augmented reality content in here just to sink your teeth into. I do need to keep these. I'm really sorry. I have to keep them. But take a look, please, and ask any questions you've got about them. The promotions calendar now fully aligns with what exists in the Irresistible Mail campaign. Different printing techniques we're discounting for. Augmented reality, we're offering a 2% upfront postage discount for it. And what's different about the promotions now over previous years is the promotion period, you see March 1st through August 31st, the end date matches that of the registration period. You no longer have a very limited window of time to register. You can register the second to last day of the promotion and mail on the last day of the promotion, and it's still going to be acceptable. Again, all for the sake of accessibility. We believe in it and we want people to utilize these promotion programs. The promotion for enhanced augmented reality refers to augmented reality's idea of providing robust features that allow consumer engagement experiences, some of which you guys have seen here. I'm going to show some real-world examples of successful augmented reality campaigns that have already come and gone. And that will give you some perspective on some of the exciting things that Sean is going to be showing you guys here as well. I actually have to run over here real quick. The first one is The Color Show by Maybelline New York. I think I'll actually sit right here for this. The print piece activates the augmented reality aspect. This can be snapped away for convenient viewing. And what happens next is we're prompted to take a picture. Don't mind the mysterious third arm that comes out from the abyss. What happens next is I'm given repositionable, resizable nails to place on my hand. I think people shaking their heads like, oh, it's too much. And red, it truly is my color. And finally, you're able to actually switch through different colors they have as part of this line of products. Now, I want to emphasize that something like this is pretty basic augmented reality, but the power is really unprecedented. We're talking about Maybelline New York giving their customers an experience right in the comfort of their own home that they otherwise would have had to leave, go to a store, buy the product right away. Or, maybe take a look at some of the colors they have and try them out. When you force your customer to conjure the image themselves of what the experience is going to be like, it really takes away the impact. And what we're talking about here is conjuring that image for the customer, showing them, here's what you're going to look like in these nails. When I think of schools, I imagine something like, rather than suggesting to your prospect, hey, imagine what you would look like in that graduation cap, show them. what they're going to look like in that graduation cap. It's a powerful way to engage customers, and as it becomes more and more prevalent, it's going to become a staple of the way direct marketing works. A quote from Kristen Iraola, who's the vice president of e-commerce for Maybelline New York. She talks about how they've used AR in the past in different aspects, but leveraging it here was a really innovative step for their brand. We had to solve how to allow users to try on shades without being able to physically sample them. They used the technology to overcome a tremendous objective that they had. Jump right back over here. A lot of you might be quite familiar with IKEA's augmented reality campaign. They're really trailblazers, and they have been utilizing AR in their monthly catalogs for some years now. Some of you might recognize this gentleman in the back of the room. Handsome fella. So we have actually the magazine. It's their periodical sitting on the floor. That acted as a trigger for supplemented reality, repositionable 3D content that we are imposing onto reality here. Takes us one step further with the ability to make a purchase. And this is something that's actually really important for augmented reality, is driving the user to some sort of action. It's absolutely crucial to engage the customer in a way that actually takes them to the next step. Marty Marston, who is the PR manager at IKEA, talked about this campaign and other things they've done, and they emphasize, we think that augmented reality is going to be a solution to help people with a buying decision. The buying process it's complicated, and they recognize that it's an issue that needed to be addressed. The last campaign I want to show you is, let me pause this quick. This is from Olympus. This product is called the Olympus Pen EPL1. It's a camera that they manufactured. This is actually a 6-year-old campaign. And in the technological world, 6 years it's really 2 lifetimes. And that they were doing something like this long ago was really, really significant. And again, print is the driver for this technology. So what he's holding is actually just a piece of paper, as you can see. The technology is using that image as a trigger to supplement reality and to offer any user who wants to take a look at this the experience. This was something that their customers were allowed to do. They sent out a print piece, and it was a small postcard with a perforated camera. It was a picture of this camera, and it was to scale. And whenever you held it in front of your web camera on their website, this is what happened. Any user could actually engage in this experience. They were able to jump in and experience the pen for themselves, to see what it looked like, to actually use the camera per se, and you're able to unlock all the features of this camera. He goes through, he sets up a digital tripod for it, takes some pictures. He places some of the filters on it. It's just goofy. And it seems, we see it happening here, and we kind of chuckle about it and think, that's really cool. But again, we're talking about solving a problem. Solving a problem that relates to engaging your consumers. So when Olympus ran this campaign, again, ran it in some magazines, ran it in postcards. The campaign was part of a campaign called Look What You Can Do, 2010. 90,000 visitors in the first month of this campaign, doubled by the second month. Forgive my typo there. 22,000 watched the product tour. and 51,000 people interacted with the augmented reality camera. Their YouTube channel had an increase of 300% in subscribers through the time of the promotion, and there was a spike in retail inquiries and sales within 3 weeks. Any company who wants to take advantage of this needs to first examine the landscape of their communications. Is there a problem that needs to be solved? The old adage, of course, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But no business is free from challenges and objectives. As it aligns with any company's strategic vision, there are places that technology like this can really support what an organization wants to do. And the university is no stranger to that sort of complexity, and having that vision, having a 2-year plan, a 5-year plan of how do we want to grow, where do we want to grow, who do we want to reach, and how do we want to engage them. Augmented reality is becoming more and more accessible, and the university is already there. Sean's done a great job with these examples that he's going to show you, and the important thing is to just not be gimmicky. There is a lot of bad augmented reality. Same with when quick response codes came out, the mobile barcodes. A lot of people were using them without any direction for the customer. They would simply throw a QR code on a print piece and leave it up to the customer to decide, am I going to engage with this? How am I going to do it? Why am I going to do it? It's important to really show the customer that, hey, if you activate this content, this is the kind of experience that you're going to be able to have. This is what the expectation is. Don't be gimmicky. Incorporate social sharing. Anytime a campaign like this happens, that is the beauty of using print to drive a digital vessel into somebody's hands. Because the content is digital, it can be shared. There are a lot of companies right now utilizing this sort of thing. Even the Maybelline Color Show. Right after I selected the color of nails, you actually have the option of putting a picture on Facebook, sharing it with your friends. You could drive other people to the campaign, and they could go on the website and do the same thing. You're talking about getting multiple impressions for one prospect. And that potential is only going to increase as social media becomes even more powerful. It's already a gigantic staple of what we do, but that's where print sits as it relates to digital, as it relates to social. It's really the method of driving that information to the customer. Test all your digital and print. Test. A small tests of any kind are going to be a benefit. It's how you're going to know what works and what doesn't work. I absolutely love seeing this many different examples, all as hypothetical scenarios. It's super cool. It's what every organization should be doing. And most importantly, have user-driven content. Have content that is exclusively developed with your intended customer in mind. A lot of companies get caught up in their own motives rather than looking at it from the perspective of their stakeholders. And where you see the most powerful augmented reality, Maybelline New York, IKEA, there's so many other ones. The people who are doing it best right now know that they create content from the perspective of the person that they intend to reach. Just to back it up, Gartner, which is one of the largest IT consulting companies, even they've noticed that there's so much bad augmented reality because it's not user-driven. There are a couple links and some emails, and I'll make this presentation available without the video because I can't email the embedded videos to anybody who wants it. I've got some cards here. I'll make my information handy to everybody who has additional questions, but that's all I've got for you guys and gals today. Are there any questions on what you've seen so far? I want to thank you guys very much for your time. I really appreciate it.